And I'm talking about Matt Whiz Buckley. Now, Matt, he's the founder of TopGunOptions. He's a former decorated Navy fighter pilot who flew 44 combat missions over Iraq in his F-18 Hornet. He has also extensive experience in managing Peak Six Investments, which is one of the largest volatility arbitrage options trading firms in the world. Matt specializes in combining his knowledge of options trading along with the precision planning and risk management that he honed as a battlefield combatant. I have been working with Matt in the past before. I've never met him personally, and I'm looking very, very much forward to his presentation. So with that, folks, Matt's going to be talking to us today about trading the Death Star, why diversification in your investments may be a mistake, risk and benefits associated with trading a solo stock, and a laser-focused strategy for maximizing profits. So with that, Matt, welcome aboard. How are you doing?
Hey, Raleigh, nice to meet you virtually at least, finally. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing just great, Matt. We are delighted to have you here with us. Great.
Oh, awesome. All right, folks, well, welcome aboard. As Raleigh said, and Raleigh, what time do you want me to go to? What time do you want to knock it off? Top of the hour?
Yeah, well, you have an hour to go, and so you have until 6 o'clock your time, so you're in good shape.
Awesome. 1800 for you non-military types. So trading the Death Star, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Star Wars fan, I have a couple kids. Well, man, I was a Star Wars fan. If you remember the Death Star, man, the big operational Death Star causing chaos and just taking over the universe, almost got blown up by a bunch of teenagers. In an aluminum Falcon, right? And then they rebuilt the thing. So trading the Death Star, I'm going to talk to you about the one stock you have to own for the rest of your life, and that's it. And I know that's going to be shocking to some of you. It just doesn't compute. That doesn't equal what you've been told, but you've been lied to by Wall Street, and we're going to talk about that. Real quick review of a disclaimer. I'm not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. Trading in options or anything involves risk, so make sure you talk to a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer before you put any real capital at risk there. Real quick disclosures in my personal accounts: long Apple, short some American Airlines, long the volatility index, short the S&P 500 right now. Okay, let's get into this. Which fighter aircraft would you rather fly? I'm only going to give you two choices here. You ready? Here's choice A. Take a look at that. That cockpit is an F-4 Phantom. Look at all of what we call steam gauges. Look at those things. In the F-4 Phantom, ladies and gentlemen, there were over 300 switches and dials. The pilot spent a lot of time what we call heads down in the cockpit instead of looking out around for enemy aircraft, surface-to-air missiles, or even AAA, anti-aircraft artillery. It was a very labor-intensive aircraft, okay? So that's choice A, the F-4 Phantom, or would you rather fly that? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the cockpit of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. 2 flat panel displays, and that's it. Does anybody see any steam gauges in there? No, you don't. This jet is so smart, ladies and gentlemen, that it actually decides what information to show the pilot at different stages of the flight. Over in the F-4 Phantom, engine instruments, hydraulic, fuel, you didn't need to know all that stuff at different points. So the F-35 is smart enough. We call it the Wonder Woman jet. It's invisible to radar. If you've ever seen an F-35 pilot's helmet, speaking of the Death Star, he looks like Darth Vader. Everything is projected up on the visor from threats. There's a surface-to-air missile site out there. It's a big red bubble around it. Do not fly into it. Man, this plane is insane. So obviously, choice B is the aircraft you would rather fly. And I'm going to tell you why this is important to investing and trading in a couple seconds. So last presenter, turn off all the distractions, silence your electronic nicotine because you've never heard what I'm about to tell you, or maybe you have. But my promise at the end of this brief, I'm going to give you an up-to-date intelligence brief. I mean, Nike's dropping after hours. There's a lot of moving pieces going on right now, especially coming up into the 4th of July. I'm going to talk to you about a big threat to the market around 4th of July that you better be hedged for. I'm going to show you the only stock you need to own and a good substitute in case you can't afford to trade that stock. A great substitute. As Raleigh said, folks, my name's Matthew Buckley. You guys can call me Whiz going forward. I think my parents like me. They didn't name me Whiz. I earned that call sign flying the F-18 Hornet for the Navy for about 15 years. Graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know as Top Gun, and also flew a couple combat sorties over Iraq. What's that have to do with trading? Absolutely everything. When I was a young, you don't join the Navy, folks, to get rich. You join the Navy to serve your country and to do some good stuff. But early on, I was always interested in finance. Early on, I'm like, you know what? 1991, bought my first mutual fund when I was an ensign in the United States Navy down in Naval Air Station Key West. Was always interested in investing. And guess what I did? I figured out that trading is a form of combat. Think about it. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to get their ass handed to them. Wouldn't you use the same procedures, the same methodologies, having a strategy, implementing tactics, managing risk, contingency planning, not being emotional, knowing when to get out of a bad situation or a good situation before it gets worse? I applied everything I was learning as a fighter pilot to my trading, and it worked with incredible results. Had an absolute blast. Trading went through the roof, and I never looked back. Okay, so here we go. That's a quick intro about me. This is going to be shocking to you, or maybe probably not shocking at all. Wall Street is lying to you. I couldn't stand my time on Wall Street. Between us folks here, it was gross. I went from a fighter squadron where if you weren't trusted, you were gone that afternoon. Wall Street, it actually was like a virtue to be scuzzy. I mean, dudes would push their own mother in front of a train for $1. It was gross. But anyway, Wall Street has been lying to you for as long as you've been investing. About what, Whiz? I'm going to tell you. Have you ever heard this? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You must diversify. Diversification is important. If you're not diversified, blah, 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 blah. It's wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing. Here's why you were told to diversify. I remember I was going through some old boxes. I found some old trade slip. I traded through USAA, right? I found an old carbon copy of a trade confirmation. The commission was like $250. It was like more than the trade. Do you remember that? Ladies and gentlemen, you have been lied to. Mrs. Smith, we think you should get into this stock the next day. Mrs. Smith, I know I told you that yesterday, but please get churn, ladies and gentlemen. You ever hear the word commission? Whenever you use the word broker, whether it's real estate, aircraft, yacht, or trading, they make money on commissions. Ladies, you've seen the movies, folks, The Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room. Those people, those guys would be calling, getting you to churn so they could make commissions. They've been lying to you. You don't need to diversify. If you don't believe me, listen to that dude. Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes very little sense for those who know what they're doing. Okay? There it is. That's the only stock you need to own for the rest of your life. It is absolutely diversified, and we're going to get into it shortly. It has been on a tear. This COVID crash, the market imploding, this country imploding, could not have been better for Amazon, and it's only going to get better. Men lie, numbers don't. Look at the screen. Amazon's annual revenue, ladies and gentlemen, it's a hockey stick. And based on this COVID crash, it's not going to look back. Being locked inside, the only place I've gone besides, the shopping or the pharmacy is buying stuff on Publix. Malls are done. I live down here in God's Waiting Room, Boca Raton. The mall, first of all, the mall can't even pay its rent. Saks, needless markup, Neiman Marcus, they're all going bankrupt. Over with, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I get into how super fun, fantastic time it is to just trading Amazon, you got to talk about the threats, man. Before you go on any mission, let's brief the threats. What are the risks to trading just a single name, a single stock, solo stock, right? Anybody ever hear of Lehman Brothers? Anybody ever hear of Bear Stearns? Jim Cramer has heard of Bear Stearns. Remember Jim Cramer at the height of the financial crisis? He looked like Khrushchev at the UN with his shoe off. He was pounding the table going, "You're an idiot if you don't buy Bear Stearns at $70. It's a steal." 2 days later, it was at zero. Good call, Jim. What about pets.com, Enron? Ladies and gentlemen, the cemetery, the graveyard of stocks that have gone to zero is packed. I get it. But what's the common theme between all the names I just shared with you? Enron didn't own anything. I don't even think they owned the building they were in. They were a middleman of electricity. Pets.com, what did they own? A stinky sock and a domain name. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, what did they own? Nothing. They owned paper, right? It was all air, contracts, stock, and then counterparty risk. I want my money out of Bear. I want my money out to, boom, implosion. Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, owns everything. Full disclosure, I was a pilot at FedEx. I hated it. Showing up to work at midnight, flying till 8 in the morning and trying to sleep during the day, not for me. But I still have buddies there. And about 5-6 years ago, a buddy of mine who was in corporate at the time said, a buddy at GE Aircraft Leasing gave me he said, Amazon just leased 5 airplanes. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to do it, isn't he? He's going to build his own FedEx, UPS, U.S. Postal Service, which leads me to another potential threat in Amazon, which is what? Anybody remember what happened about a year and a half ago? That dude woke up, or maybe he didn't go to sleep that night, picked up his phone and started ripping Jeff Bezos and Amazon to shreds. They're screwing the post office. It's unbelievable. It's criminal. This guy should be out of business. Amazon, he took a flamethrower to Amazon. What did Jeff Bezos do? He didn't say a word. Unlike these other limousine liberal tech companies like Facebook and Twitter and, getting hauled in front of Congress. I actually think he is going to be going in front of Congress eventually here, Jeff Bezos. But guess what, man? The president can be a little bit of a threat here to Amazon, but I really don't think he's going to be. Okay, there was a lot of fire, but recently there has been some rumbles. Okay, Amazon's, the United States puts Amazon foreign websites on list of platforms banned for facilitating privacy. Missouri senator wants to open a criminal complaint. Did they lie to Congress? They got workers maybe striking because of COVID. I get it. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, at Top Gun Options, I like to tell my members I wear 2 suits. I wear a flight suit, and I'll tell you how I feel as an American, right? That Jeff Bezos, who could loan money to God, not paying his employees enough and putting them in horrible working conditions where they can catch COVID is a disgrace. Then I'll put on my $10,000 Armani suit like Gordon Gekko and go, that's fantastic. The 300 people that protested outside of Amazon, you should have fired them. Oh, and they did. Fire anybody who complains and cut their pay in half for the people who stay. There's 50 million Americans out of work. Get them a job. So again, that's me being Gordon Gekko. At the end of the day, folks, if you want to make money, you have to think along those lines, okay? So those are some of the potential threats to just trading Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, stocks can go to zero. I love to loosen at 100, loved it even more at 80, started to hate it at 50, kind of really hated it at 10, and loved it at 0. I've been there, man. Stocks can go to zero. The other potential threat, folks, is what? The FTC, or Uncle Sammy saying, you know what, you're a monopoly, break up. Between us, folks, the Amazon Web Services, AWS, alone is like Microsoft. Amazon Air is its FedEx. And if you broke up Amazon, it's worth more broken up than together. And remember, when Uncle Sammy does kind of jump in with both feet and say, we're going to poke around, on anywhere from 5, 10 to 15 years. Anybody remember Standard Oil, IBM, Microsoft, the baby bells? It takes forever. And guess what? Jeff Bezos has enough money to keep stuff like that in court or this or that forever. The other good thing about Jeff Bezos and Amazon is the dude, every penny in profit that he makes goes where? Back into doing something cool. He looks at companies like Apple who have a dividend. He's like, what are you, stupid? Why? You that's a waste of money. take that and give it back to the shareholder. I'm keeping it. The man has said as long as he's alive, he will never give money back to a shareholder. And look at what the stock has done. I'm going to make the prediction here today. By my birthday, subtle plug, December 31st, Amazon will be at $3,000. Easy. I love all these analysts finally getting on the $3,000 bus. I made this call a year ago. I said by the end of 2020, Amazon's a $3,000 stock. Easily. All right, let's get going. So what are the benefits to trading a single name? You ready? You trade the same name and you can profit potentially no matter what direction Amazon goes. Amazon's going up, down, or sideways. We can profit when we trade options. You stay focused on just that name and news events that impact Amazon instead of a ton of other stocks and ETFs. And you all live, right? You have things to do. You become an expert in Amazon, reducing time spent on other positions. Now, I'm going to tell you, down here in South Florida, a buddy of mine, he's a back doctor, right? Hey, Whiz, I need help. I'm like, okay, man, doc, let's go get a cut. This is back before everybody was in prison and you could go to Starbucks. We were sitting in Starbucks. I said, all right, man, lay it on me. Let me see your portfolio. I'll never forget. He booted it up. He slid the laptop over me. I fell out of my chair. I'm not kidding. 33 positions. This guy has office hours, surgery, a kid, an ex-wife. 33 positions. I can't even, it's making me shake now. He tried to start. I'm like, I was speechless. He's like, well, I think that's a pot stock. I don't know what that is. This one, it's awful. It's down, but I'll wait for it to come back. Then I'll get out of it. And then I'm like, dude, stop, doc, enough. Just stop talking. You're giving me agita. Thank God he was a doctor because I almost 33 positions. Folks, I do this for a living, and 5 to 10 positions is a lot. How many of you have a trading cockpit that looks like this? You don't even have to answer because I know a lot of you do. I do a lot of individual coaching, and it's shocking to me. Do not have a trading platform that looks like that. How about one that looks like that? Now, if you're sitting there going, oh man, this diversification thing is killing me, Wiz, I like it. You're right. Amazon is ginormous. It ain't going out of business. I love what you're saying, but it doesn't compute. I've been wired from the day one of trading school that said you must diversify. Here's your diversification. In this service at Top Gun Options called Solo Amazon, we also trade XLY. Why? Because 25% of the XLY is Amazon. So for all my diversification just written in stone, I have to look at the diversification on the screen. Home Depot, McDonald's, Nike, Starbucks, Lowe's, Booking, TJX, Target, General Motors. There's your diversification, ladies and gentlemen. Why do we trade XLY in this service? Because Amazon, what was it, 20? We'll take a look in a second here. $2,800. It ain't cheap. I mean, with the options trades, we can trade cheap stuff, but the XLY, what is it? It's a $120 ETF. This is a fantastic, good proxy for Amazon. If a quarter of the damn ETF is Amazon, that's pretty good, right? So there's your diversification. In this portfolio, we trade Amazon and we also trade XLY, and it makes sense. So how do we target Amazon and XLY for max profit? Step one, when you become a member, we establish what's called a base position. What's that mean? We can hop in that Joint Strike Fighter, fly the speed of light out in time, and we can go out with options. We can go out even a couple years and say, you know what? All the way out in the future, I am bullish on Amazon. So I'm going to show you how we establish a base position all the way out in the future with a tactic that we call synthetic stock or a long call diagonal. It just kind of depends on risk and all sorts of stuff. But I'll walk you through how to establish a base position. But I'm also going to tell you right now, I am not going to do that. I'm going to go to the charts here in a couple minutes and what's going on, because I will not do that. More to come on that in a couple minutes. After we do, and I will in the future do base positions, I just got to warn you what's coming. After we do have the base positions established, then what do? We trade the front months. What's the front months? You're sitting in the front month, June, July, August. Right now I have front month. We did an Amazon trade. I'll show you on our member page. So our solo Amazon brief is every Monday at 2. Don't worry if you can't make it. It's recorded, and I sent out an email and text alert in the brief when I'm putting a new trade in. We closed it for a one-day profit of, I think it was $3,000. Monday we opened it. Tuesday we had that big rally. Done for the week. But we trade the front months. If Amazon or XLY are going up, we'll do some bullish spreads or buy some calls. Amazon or XLY are going down, guess what we do? Some bearish spreads, or we'll sell some front month upside calls against those base positions. Finally, can you make money if Amazon's just sitting here trading sideways? Yeah, you can with a tactic called an iron condor. It's kind of a range bound trade. So it's fantastic. I love this. And when you think about that, that's a couple positions right there. Whiz, I flew out in the time, got bullish on Amazon. That's a trade. That's a position. Now I'm trading the front months. Okay, that's another one. So there's kind of 2 positions right there. So no wonder people can end up having 15, 20, 33 positions. But folks, stay in the net. I got a buddy. He's an Apple market maker. I'm not being facetious when I say this. He doesn't know a stock market exists. He's like, Whiz, what the VIX? What's the VIX? The S&P 5? He knows nothing about anything other than Apple. He lives it, eats it, breathes it. He knows everything about Apple. I mean, folks, think about it. At the end of the day, I mean, in the firm I worked at in Chicago, we had analysts, man, and these analysts had to know that name inside and out. And sometimes even they got it wrong. So explain to me how you, with 33 positions, can trade successfully. You can't, right? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's go bring up let me click new share here, and I'm gonna bring up my E-Trade platform. All right, so everybody can see, first of all, look at the past. This is a 3-month chart of Amazon. Let's take a look at this run, man. It's been staggering. I saw a good meme on Instagram the other day. Somebody wrote like, hey, as we're reopening here, can we shut down Amazon, Target, and Costco and Walmart and let small businesses try and make it again? It's too late, man, and it's heartbreaking. Again, that's in my flight suit, not Gordon Gekko. In the past 3 months, Amazon is up 46%. What happened during the COVID crash? Almost nothing. Look at the 6-month chart. So great earnings, right? Before the world ended. So here's what Amazon always does in January. We usually get a November, December Santa Claus rally, flat in the January, as Amazon reports, we bought Christmas this year again. Incredible profits, and look what happened on earnings. Boom, pop. This thing was poised to rip higher, and there it is. There's the middle of February when the world starts coming unglued, and then March. And then what happened? Smart people said, oh my God, stay at home. Amazon is going to take over the world, and it hasn't looked back. Now, if you're the type of person that's sitting there going, oh man, what a run, I missed it, I'll wait for it to pull back. What? I love when people say that to me. It's overvalued. First of all, it's not overvalued. The price is the price. I love when people say that. I'd say it's too expensive. Based on what? I mean, it's not overvalued. That's the price. That's the value. The price is what people are willing to pay for it. I don't care how you feel about something. That's ones and zeros on a screen, and that's the fact. So people say, I'm going to wait for Amazon to pull back to get into it. Tell me when that's going to happen, and I'll short it. I'll throw a bear call spread on or buy some puts. I don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. Exactly. Now, let me give you a warning here. Let me make sure I can share this. Let me just go with the screen so I can just put the whole screen up, and then we will go to this, okay? Nobody, no brokerage firm that I know of lets you trade off the left side of a chart. Does anybody in this room have the ability to trade over here? You don't have to answer that. No. No broker allows you to trade off the left side of a chart. What we have to do is do what? Trade out here. You have to project your thoughts forward in space and time so you can influence and place some trades. Why am I drawing stuff out here in the white area? So here's why I'm telling you I'm putting stuff out here. Guess what? And I'm an acronym guy. So, combat trading can be complex. How do you battle complexity? With simplicity. So I'm going to write this acronym down. So DRINC. Because if this were not an election year, ladies and gentlemen, I would be in this brief right now telling you and giving you a long position on Amazon out to January. Why? Because of what I just said. Here's what happens, man. I've been doing this for 28 years. One day, we're all sitting around a table holding hands, having turkey, thanking the Lord for everything, and we're blessed. And the next day, we're beating our fellow human up to save $10 on a flat screen. And Amazon rips higher on a Santa Claus rally. It happens 99.9% of the time. The big time it didn't was what, 2 years ago on April 3rd when Jerome Powell said, I think we're going to raise interest rates. And everybody almost died. Everybody remember that? So I'm sitting here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, do not do that. Why? Because of this big wall right here. In case you didn't notice, or you've been on the other side of Mars for the past 3 years, this is an election. How many of you have heard the term October surprise? Whether it was Reagan, so that acronym right there, I'm going to brief you on, because this is a wall. I am not going through this wall to get bullish on Amazon in November or December. DRINC, DRINC. Between now, me talking to you, and Election Day, the Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China are literally going to do whatever it takes. You think coronavirus and rates riots are bad, you haven't seen September and October yet. October, ladies and gentlemen, is the second most volatile month in the year. February is the first. It's usually an insane, well, look at that, February. So October is volatile anyway. We got an election, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'll repeat it. Democrat, Russia, Iran. So here's the other reason why I'm not getting super long right now. In 1999, the dear leader of North Korea made up some military holiday that is July 3rd. What happened 2 weeks ago? The North Koreans blew up that joint embassy in North Korea. They blew up the building. Now, don't worry about it. The South Koreans had left in January. They're like, this is getting ugly. We left. But did you see it too? We've been race rioting and COVID over here. I keep track of all of this stuff. I'm going to learn. I'm going to teach. I do a daily intelligence brief, folks. You have to know what's going on around the world. How many of you remember your portfolio when Putin invaded Crimea and then Eastern Ukraine? Do you remember, what happened with the Greek debt crisis? You're probably sitting here one day, fat, dumb, and happy, looking at your 401k, and all of a sudden it's a 101k, and you're like, Greek debt crisis? What? I knew all of that stuff was happening, and we printed money because of it. So between now and July 4th, I think, and I got buddies, one of the benefits of being a Top Gun Options is this thing. This is worth its weight in gold. Got institutional buddies, hedge fund, prop guys on the hill. Got a lot of dudes, good bros and sisters in uniform with stars on their shoulders who shall always remain nameless. Between now and July 4th, North Korea is most likely going to do blank. Fill in the blank. And it's going to be something. He has been, so the creepy sister's been out a lot, right? She's the one that ordered the embassy to be blown up. I believe we might get, they haven't done a nuke test, folks. And Trump has kind of really strained his shoulder, patting himself on the back for that. And good job, they haven't. I believe they are going to launch a bottle rocket, and it might even be over Japan again. Remember this? Remember these? You haven't heard from North Korea in a while. You're about to. Okay? So that's a long ramble about North Korea, but that also tells you today, yesterday, we've been hedging in our other portfolios here, and our sales are completely set. I don't want that to happen, by the way, folks. I don't like being right on certain things, but when I am, we print money off of it. So I'm explaining to you why right now this is too big of a wall to go out to November and December and get bullish. I mean, just intuitively, folks. I mean, Vladimir Putin spent 200 grand on Facebook ads, and for 3.5 years, our country's come in completely unglued. The president's a Russian plant. Iran. You remember 6 months ago, people frothing at the mouth that Donald Trump was going to get us into war with Iran? He didn't. He actually took it off. That thing de-escalated. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Whizism you can write down. The market only cares when it cares. Now, I know you're sitting there going, okay, that made it, listen to it. The market only cares when it cares, meaning just because we're not paying attention to Iran right now doesn't mean some dude went down in an elevator a mile under the earth and said, hey, fellas, let's call it a day. Nobody's paying attention to us right now, so let's just go home until the cameras show up. Or folks, this stuff is going on. China, ladies and gentlemen, what happened in the market earlier in the week? Peter Navarro let it slip like, yeah, that phase one trade deal's over with. The futures imploded 600 points. Then he walked out and said, yeah, I didn't say that. That's wrong. Everything's fun, fantastic time with China. Market rip your face off rally. So I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine and everything. As an F-18 pilot and an options trader, I'm always looking out for the potential threats. And if they don't materialize, I'm happy. But if you're sitting here fat, dumb, and happy thinking markets just go up or anything like that, you are going to be sadly mistaken. Okay? So Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. Between now and Election Day, folks, it's going to be ugly. Now, let me tell you, I wasn't like this up until recently. So we nailed this, folks. This was a career call for me. January 22nd, we were in a live trade brief, accelerated retirement. Donald Trump was on the TV. He was in Davos. It was a CNBC interview. He said, what's his name? Joe Kiernan asked him about COVID in China. He's like, he was like pissed. He's like, why you? I believe Xi. I believe the numbers out of China. He's a good friend, great backswing. Love Xi, love China. COVID not even coming to America. Next question. That was a dumb question type of thing. I'm like, he's lying. I turned to this screen. I'll show you that you'll get access to the recording. I'm getting it framed. January 22nd. Get in cash. Get long volatility, buy puts on the S&P 500. We made 27 millionaires. I nailed that to the day, and we nailed that to within 2 to 3 days. Why am I rambling about this? Because this bottom here, this most hated rally, right? I predicted a W. I had it right until here. What happened here? Somebody want to help me out? Fed. Ladies and gentlemen, this rally is nothing but hopium from the Federal Reserve. Did you see? My God, man, in my life, I'm 51 and letting you know my age. Never in my lifetime have I seen 60 Minutes where most people don't even know what the Fed is. Jerome Powell was on 60 Minutes like 3 or 4 weeks ago. You know what he said? He's like, I print money digitally. I just kind of hit enter and money happens. He's like, sometimes we print physical money and we send it to the Federal Reserve banks. But to get us out of this, I'm just going to print, I'll just hit enter a couple times. I looked at my wife. I'm like, why are we paying taxes? Give me an envelope and a piece of paper. Here, dear IRS, talk to Jerome. He can print my tax payment for this year. Talk about a moral hazard, ladies and gentlemen. So why am I rambling about this? Because you got the drink right here, but you got the Fed. Ladies and gentlemen, what's his name? Jeffrey Gundlach from Double Line Capital, $150 billion hedge fund. He's furious at the Fed, right? they're buying corporate bonds, folks. I'm not joking when I have a big bookshelf over here. Half my books are gone. About 3 weeks ago, I took most of my investing books and I put them in the recycling bin, along with Warren Buffett. All of the quote smart money that told you to buy here and has told you not to buy on the way up have gotten it wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Reserve has pledged about, I can't believe I'm writing this, $10 trillion. It's staggering. And guess what? To date, only about $3 trillion is in here. Why am I briefing you all about this? First of all, to help you build situational awareness as to what's going on. So this rally, which is kind of running out of airspeed, is being physically held up by Jerome Powell and the Fed. I just said they're buying corporate bonds of companies that should be out of business. Why am I building this up like this? Because if they've Jeffrey Gundlach used this term. He's like, the Fed has jawboned this market higher. This market is higher on just their words. They haven't even like deployed all this stuff yet. So I'm kind of red teaming myself. So I've done my job briefing you about DRINC, D-R-I-N-C. But if you don't want Jerome Powell to fail, because if $10 trillion in liquidity can't keep this thing up, and the drinks end up really doing a September, October surprise, we won't even stop at the March lows. We will go right through it. And you're starting to see this, man. I was going to go drive up to Jersey to see my mom from Florida because I don't want to fly. The governor of New Jersey, you come in if New Jersey with Florida tags on, we're going to like arrest you and throw you in jail. So I'm not going to go see my mom. This quote second wave, you can already see it, man. You can already see it coming. So I right now, man, went from being all the way up here. I've been cautiously bullish. I mean, hell, let me show you what we did with Amazon this week. Let me bring up our Amazon. So let's talk Amazon. But before I wanted to get in and talking about Amazon, folks, I got to give you a brief about. You will never come into one of my live trade briefs like Solo Amazon and go, hey, here's Amazon's trade for the day. That's the last thing that we do, folks. I use a process called SOT, strategic, operational, and then we can get tactical. Towards the end of our briefs is when we start talking about the actual trades, not before, man. You can't sit, because if you just looked at the chart of Amazon right now, you'd be like, yeah, I can keep going up. And if you don't know the things that are swirling around out here, if we get a nuclear something out of North Korea, a test or a shot over Japan, the markets will react and Amazon won't be immune to it. So look at this. So yeah, on Monday, we did an Amazon bull put spread, the 26.50, 26.45, and the next day Amazon was up to like 27.50 in a day. So we closed that trade in a day, in one day, and made 92% profit in a day with a bull put spread. Absolutely fantastic. Loved it. We also did Apple and Microsoft bull put spread. Look at the week before. This was another one. Look at that headline. 15 June, Solo Amazon, that's the name of the service, new Amazon spread and market warning. I told my folks, I said, I call myself old red. I'm like old red sitting on the porch whittling with a stick. When my knees start aching, there's a storm coming, and we nailed it to essentially last week to that day. Look at that right there. Boom. The day after that headline, market warning, the Dow went down 1,800 points. It was fantastic. This trade hit a max profit. We made it was $2,000, 1980 on about $5,500 in risk. Okay, so what would I be doing now? What would I be doing now with Amazon? Great question. JD, I would vote for you. JD, I appreciate it. I would have to kill way too many people. The skeletons in my closet, man. The skeletons in my closet has skeletons. But what would I be doing tactically right now? I would stick. Let me get rid of this line. I would stick with bullish on Amazon. But folks, I'm not kidding you. Where's my calendar? I'm not going to pull the calendar up. I would be out of everything. First of all, the market's closed next Friday, which is fantastic, July 3rd. I would do a bull put spread. Let's just look at one. Let's look at it. How am I doing here? All right. I would look at a bull put spread on Amazon out to next Thursday. Okay. Let's take a look. And I like the 2,700 level. It's a nice round number. 27. Let's go. 2,700. 2695. Geez, I could probably go. Well, we could probably, let's take a look at maybe 20 contracts, and then yeah, I want to keep these guys on time here. Nope. 15 contracts, like I did that other week. That's pretty good. So I would look at a 2,700 when I sell these puts. If you're not familiar with options, I'll teach you all about options. Sell the 2,700 puts. That's me saying I don't think Amazon's going to be below 2,700 by next Thursday. It's on a tear here, man. There's no big news events that I can see. The radar looks pretty clear other than North Korea. I'm telling you, man, July 3rd or July 4th, you'll thank Uncle Whiz. If you're hedged, we have some long puts on the Russell 2000, and we have some long volatility calls, man. They help me sleep at night. Those things go out worthless, I feel fine. If you're lying in bed at night like, oh man, that better not happen, what that dude talked about, or my portfolio is going to get killed, you're doing it wrong. I never climbed up into the F-18 Hornet, looked at the ejection seat and said, hey, Chief, what's up, Lieutenant? Yeah, pull the ejection seat out. I'd rather have the 800 pounds of gas. I'm not going to get shot down. What? It's not even physically possible. But anyway, what if I am wrong? Between now and next Thursday, Amazon implodes. Well, let's buy some downside puts. This is a bull put spread. So our risk is limited. We are risking about 58 to make 17. That's a good risk to reward ratio, right? We make money three ways in this trade. You see this dotted line right here? That's the price of Amazon currently. Amazon goes up, we make money. Amazon hangs out, just kind of levels off, we make money. Folks, Amazon can even go down a little bit as long as it stays above what? Our break even, which would be 26.98. So quick bull put spread, because I know I kind of gave you my big strategic overview, but this is, I feel it, folks. I told you I'm old red. Not only are my knees aching as I'm whittling a stick on the front porch, there's a storm coming. I predicted the COVID, I'm writing a book, COVID crash, because we nailed it. We nailed it within a week to the bottom. And this most hated rally, all the smart money, this rally, now they're getting, look at, like, I've got to show you this. Look at what happened Monday, folks. This is just comical. Where's Monday? Where's my JP Morgan? This is Monday. After the biggest rally since 1933, JP Morgan finally tells its clients to buy stocks. That's JP Morgan, the smart money. They told you to buy stocks right about here because they've missed this entire thing. It's comical, to be honest with you. All right, seeing some great questions. So let me let you know how you can get into solo Amazon here, and then I'll clean up and answer questions. I didn't want to be rude and ignore questions along the way. I just know, hopefully, that I covered what your question was during the brief. And if I didn't, I failed, because that's what a good brief is supposed to do. Solo Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, is our newest live trading service here at TopGunOptions. It's a good entry into some of our potential other services. Our other services, I trade Monday through Thursday. We did our weekly debrief this morning at 10 a.m. They're usually individually $167 a month, but because we cover a bunch of different names. But since Solo Amazon only trades 2 names, it's $97 a month. I had so I went out to dinner last night in Fort Lauderdale. Every Wednesday night, we call it Bible study, but it's just a couple judges, cops, lawyers, a couple doctors, me, businessmen. We all break bread every Wednesday night, and it was like $130 a person last night. So for the price of a nice dinner with the Mafia guys last night, you can get into Solo Amazon for a month, $97 a month. If you had to go, it's just TopGunOptions.com. /solo-amazon-monthly. And check this out. Well, here's our portfolio year to date. Amazon, it's a 6-figure return, that 108 or something like that. I got blown out of an XLY trade or two, but this is good because I like seeing red on the screen because it shows you that losses happen. You ever go to one of these briefs and the lady or the dude just talks about all the winners, and it's physically impossible, man. Professional traders, ladies and gentlemen, you ready for this? You know how much they want to win? What percentage of the time? 60. Now I don't want to ask answers because it makes my hand shake when I see people write like 100 or what. It's physically impossible. If you are winning on 60% of your trades over time, you are printing money. 51%, it'll take 100 years. 100%, no. So I had a couple bad trades. I think that was on the W. That's what it was. We went down, up, and I said we're having another down, and then the Fed came in and dropped a bunch of thermonuclear cash bombs, and I got caught on the wrong side of that. But still, net, what's that? 75 grand for the year. Hey, Whiz, Mondays, 2 o'clock, I work for a living. Don't worry about it if you can't attend. 80% of our folks work for a living. Time-sensitive text and email alerts. Here's a recent text alert on a XLY bear call spread. So I'll send out a text alert, which is actually the trade, and at the same time, simultaneously, guess what fires? An email, which has the screenshots of the trade. I take my snipping tool, I take a screenshot of the order ticket, then I take a screenshot of the risk parameters. This trade was risking about 49.60 to make about 3 grand. And that one went right through the uprights. That was a good look, and that was a good trade right there. So you get a text, you get an email, and everything's recorded in about 30. It takes about 30 minutes for the video to render and for me to post it. So if you can't attend, watch it after dinner or when the kids go to bed, or watch it over the weekend whenever you get a chance. Some people watch the replays a couple times because they, I missed something, or a lot of people say they learn more if they watch them a couple times. So the replays are posted on the member page there. Here's what I'm going to do though, because I've been working with Raleigh for a long time and love what he does. So I'm going to throw a little bonus in here. These are your flight manuals, man. Primary, intermediate, advanced. If you need a little love, a little brush up in your options knowledge, here you go. Primary. What's an option? What's volatility? Who created liquid soap and why? Intermediate, spreads, a little bit more, and then advanced, maybe iron condor, strangle. So these folks, if you went to TopGunOptions.com right now and bought these individually, you'd spend $197. So if you're a political science major and a fighter pilot like me, you just did the math and said, wait a minute, it's 97 for a month, but the manuals are worth, there's $100. Right, you already made $100. So that's I'll hook you up with that today. So again, here's what you're going to get: access to the Solo Amazon Live Trade Brief every Monday at 2. You're going to get text and email alerts like we showed you, the 3 skill-based manuals, and you're going to get access to our online Ready Room. So the Ready Room, folks, it's the Ready Room in a fighter squadron. I learned really how to fly and fight the F-18, not from a manual, but from sitting in the Ready Room, talking to older pilots. There I was. It was a dark night, and I did this, or So the Ready Room is our online forum where we interact in between trade briefs and float trade. Hey, what do you guys think of this? Or post intelligence and stuff like that. So the Ready Room's a pretty cool feature there. Parmar, 200 grand in Amazon on 20 call contracts. Kevin, Amazon synthetic stock late to enter, up 200%. He paid 8 grand for that, now at 24. Greg, $144,000 on 2 Amazon positions, long-term bullish positions that he was working. I love his last sentence. I don't need much more. That's a smart man right there. David, did Amazon TGO synthetic stock 2 months ago, up 42 grand. Diane, remember, Amazon ain't cheap. Diane, with 1 contract, was up, I think that was a couple weeks ago, up $70,000 as Amazon just kept going up. I'm going to teach you, it's too long to read. I'm going to teach you all this stuff, folks. It's awesome. I'm very passionate about what I do. Solo Amazon, $97 a month. I'll tell you what, let me give you the link for an annual membership. If you want to do an annual membership, I will give you a 25% discount. So let me show you actually where to go. So here's the pages right here. TopGunOptions.com/solo-Amazon-monthly. That one's pretty easy to remember. Now, if you want to do the annual and save 25%, there you go. There's a 25% discount. It's just /solo annual. That one's less of a pain in the rear end to type. So, all right. How are we doing on time? Let me go back in here.
Matt, you're batting cleanup, so we're not against the hard end. Take a few more minutes. We're really enjoying what you have to say.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. Jake, what is DRINK? It's an acronym that I'm using to explain what I think is going to happen in the fall. Folks, this is an election year. I mean, yesterday, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of this country alleged that Republicans are responsible for the murder of George Floyd. She said a lot in her, that one like hit me right in the face. Not to get too political, but ladies and gentlemen, politics drives the market. Before COVID and all these problems, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Dudley, love the guy's name. Bill Dudley was the head of the New York Federal Reserve. That's one of the heads of the five families. Bill Dudley wrote an op-ed that said Jerome Powell, the current Fed chief, should raise interest rates to crash the economy so Trump doesn't get reelected. Stunning. The Federal Reserve itself, actually, I've never seen them put out like a political press release. They put out a press release for like, we feel that we actually have to address that. There is no way on God's green earth that we get into the political. I was speechless that a former Fed bank president would actually say something like that. Why am I rambling about this? Because September, I'm telling you, my call sign's Whiz, not Nostradamus. But in September and October, right in front of this election, it's going to be insanity. You can take that to the bank. I want to be wrong. There's been several times where I make predictions like these, and I bend over back. I'll buy you a bottle of Camus at our next live event. That's my standing bet. Very long answer to your short question there, Jake, but that's what DRINK stands for. Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. XLY, Mark, yeah, exactly. So a lot of people saying, hey, XLY, exactly. If you're not feeling, that you can trade Amazon because it's a little pricey, that's why we trade, I'll close my brokerage fast. That's why we trade the options. But XLY is a great ETF and it's a good substitute. Now, after I thoroughly scared the hell out of everybody, what am I going to do on election day? I'm going to buy Amazon. Well, after we see what happens, I'm going to get ready for the Santa Claus rally. Doesn't matter who's the president, folks, Joe Biden or Donald Trump or fill in the blank. Amazon's going to destroy Christmas again. It's going to own it like it owns it every year. So, and you should do this. I put this stuff on my smartphone. On November 1st, you should put a standing calendar appointment. Every November 1st, put repeat annually. Buy Amazon, Visa, XLY, and also XRT, which is the retail ETF. Even during the 8 years under Obama where this Christmas is going to be awful. It's hard. Everything's bad out there. January. Christmas was fantastic. Everything was great. Stocks went up. So after the DRINK, Democrat, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China, after we get through that, whatever maze or wall that's going to be, I'm going to be buying with both hands. Okay. So you can't put your blinders on. You got to put your radar downrange a little bit and look at what's going to happen. I mean, we're already seeing it. The governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, we're closing again. Down here in Florida and Texas, we're kind of pausing the reopening. We're not rolling things back, but we're going to pause. I see it coming, folks. But I got to be honest with you, man. A pandemic that has a 0.04 fatality rate for people under 70, we're going to tear our country apart again. I gotta be honest with you, man. You got a better probability of being struck by lightning than dying from COVID. Can you get it? I think I had it. The middle of January, there was a week I thought I died. It was awful. I've never had the flu before. I don't know what that was. A doctor buddy gave me a prescription to go see if I had the antibodies or something like that. But I don't feel like going to Quest or any medical places right now, to be honest with you. But I think I had it. I get it. It sucked, but it's not worth destroying this company, close enough, this country over again for, in my personal opinion. Why am I rambling about that? Because you're going to see it in September and October. These same governors and mayors of bankrupt cities have no problems bankrupting their cities even more because they're going to demand a bailout from who? You and Uncle Sammy. So, you know, you showed up for a trade brief and you get political. Folks, I don't know how people don't trade politics. I used to love the government shutdowns, man. Those were a free gift. Obama says this. Republicans say this. Well, then we'll shut down I'd buy VIX, and the government would shut down. VIX would spike, and I would have loved this to happen, that the government would stay shut down forever. But of course, we know it would reopen eventually. So I'd get out of my long VIX position, as John Boehner would come with his quivering lip to the microphone, like, "All right, we're going to reopen," and then I'd sell. I loved it. Loved the government shutdowns. I didn't love it as an American. I loved it as Gordon Gekko, which is the kind of the two hats that I wear here at TopGunOptions. So, all right, let me scroll up and good stuff. Yeah, no. So if you, yeah, here it is. The 25% discount is if you do an annual. It's just it's a fantastic deal. So. Mark, I don't disagree, man. It's we are living in interesting times. Now, every time I do one of my live trade briefs, I always close it with this: happy hunting, and make sure you hedge. Happy hunting. Before we ever walked out to the jet, we shook each other's hands and said, "Hey, man, happy hunting," which is self-explanatory. But I add on there, make sure you hedge. Right now, folks, you know, on a day like yesterday when it was all red, if your screen was all red, you're doing it wrong. You should kind of have a Christmas tree, right? On a day when the market's all up, the red things on my screen are my hedges. Those are my sleep better at night. I don't sit here and write a check every month to USAA and complain about my insurance. As a matter of fact, I don't even do that. It's on auto. So have some insurance on, folks. How many times have you gotten in those situations? You're like, my God, thank God I had insurance. If you are not hedged right now, you're going to be in for a lot of potential pain. Okay. All right, Raleigh, I appreciate it, man. I went over by 1 minute or whatever, so that means everybody gets a free drink on me whenever we meet.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much. I tell you what, just a great way to wrap things up. Really appreciate your perspective. You brought some interesting and very, very focused points of view to the room here, and that just added, once again, to all the education that people have experienced over the past couple of days. And I think that's really what it's all about. I mean, everybody that has presented here has been passionate about what they do and what their focus is on. And it's all about just getting involved, being serious about what you're doing, being committed. This is not, you know, what am I looking for? This is not a hobby. This is serious business when you're investing your money.
When at my firm up in Chicago, one of my partners said, you know, we treat retail traders as liquidity, as cordwood. So if you think that I'm not going to get hurt or people are going to take it easy, folks, I told you, man, these people, Wall Street is ruthless. So unless you got to, this ain't, you know, throwing darts. You have got to be disciplined about this. And that's a great point, Raleigh, is a lot of people don't recognize that people on the other side of the it's kill or be killed, man, at the end of the day. And if you're not taking it seriously, you're going to end up on the wrong side of that equation, you know?
All right, my friend. Well, listen, take care, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Have a nice 4th of July. Thank you for your service from all of us here. Thank you for your service.
You bet. Thanks, guys. And I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. We really are at the end of this event, and it has been just